Hello everyone. In the next 3 videos I'm going to be showing you albums that I picked up for 50 cents or $1 each. So a lot of these purchases were just basically speculation, and some of them I know about, some of them I don't know about. But here we go. The first is the Sinceros Pet Rock, which I think is Sinceros' second album. They're a new wave band, early 80s. I noticed this one, it was recorded in England with Gus Dudgeon as producer. And Gus, of course, produced a lot of Elton John's albums, amongst other albums. This is an RCA Living Stereo album, Reminisce, with Larry Ferrari. It's an early stereo album, probably from about 1959 or 60. And it's Larry Ferrari at the Hammond organ. The next one, Simon Parke, Venus Flytrap. This might be familiar to British viewers. It's on Canadian Capital, but it's a British record, really. What's interesting about this is not only the cover. I mean, it's a very nice cover. But the material on it, I mean, if this is easy listening, it's going to be interesting because it has Ann Peebles' I Can't Stand the Rain, or a version of it at least. And also David Bowie, Oh Pretty Things, Dylan's Lay Lady Lay. Jerry Murad and the Harmonicats' greatest hits, including their big hit, of course, Cherry Pink and Apple Blossom White. And something that caught my attention on this, looking at the back, it was produced by Teo Macero, who was the producer for albums like Miles Davis' Kind of Blue, and I think he also produced Dave Brubeck's Take 5. And you know, in my view, he's one of the better producers, jazz producers of the early 60s. This came in the next album, and it describes RCA's process, Dynagroove process, and they were trying to do kind of audiophile quality recordings in the early 60s. This is Marty Gold, Sound Power, music to the limits of audibility, kind of exotica. Living Stereo, probably has wide separation, could be pretty interesting. Perry Botkin, Ports. Perry Botkin Jr., of course, not Sr. Perry Botkin Sr. was a guitar player for people like Bing Crosby back in the 40s. But Perry Botkin Jr. Worked with, as an arranger, primarily in the 1960s and 1970s. With Phil Spector, I think he did the T-Bones instrumental album, and a variety of artists. And it's probably easy listening music. Check Perry Botkin's videos on YouTube. They're very interesting. This is Herman Brood and his Wild Romance. I think Herman Brood was Dutch. This looks like a disco album or something, but I'm really not sure. Kind of a hot cover. Buck Dharma, Flat Out, and looks like an early 1950s Oldsmobile Starfire. And Buck Dharma was a guitar player in Blue Oyster Cult. Next we have Jonathan Edwards on Capricorn Records. Jonathan Edwards had a big hit single in the early 70s, Sunshine. It's on this album. Then he kind of disappeared. He's kind of the one-hit wonder type, I guess. Red Simpson Sings Again. And Red Simpson, I saw Red Simpson on Tink, I think, play one of his records on one of her videos about maybe 3 or 4 months ago. And it's truck driving music, and it's excellent truck driving music. And I was kind of pleased to find this one. Keith Emerson with The Nice. Now, we all know Keith Emerson from Emerson, Lake and Palmer. Before he was in Emerson, Lake and Palmer, he was in a British band called The Nice. I think they came on scene probably around 1967 and recorded 4 or 5 albums. And Keith Emerson, in my mind, did for the keyboards what Eric Clapton did for the guitar. He really brought it to the forefront and fantastic player. This is a compilation album of the two last albums that the Neist released, The Five Bridges and Elegy. Now this one, it says Eberhard Schoner, Video Magic, but in reality this is The Police, with Eberhard Schoner on keyboards. If you look in the back, there's Eberhard Schoner, but Sting, vocals and bass, Andy Summers guitar, and Stuart Copeland drums, and there's a couple other musicians on here. And if you listen to the album, it sounds like a Police album very much, with a lot of keyboards on it though. Harvey Mandel, the best of Harvey Mandel, and I really know little about Harvey Mandel except he was a guitar player that was fairly popular in the late 60s and early 70s. And the last one from this set is Griffin and Sylvester. Now, Griffin is James Griffin, member of Bread. I think he might have passed away 2 or 3 years ago. And Sylvester is Terry Sylvester, who replaced Graham Nash in the Hollies. And they got together in, I think this is probably 1981 or 82. Thank you for watching.